Boy, he said he made sure the room was clean. I'm gonna tell him. I bet he don't even realize, or he's just like she ain't said nothing to me, so I'm gonna let it slide. That's right. That's all right. We got him on it now.
Two minutes. Yeah. Yeah. Take a leak. Do that again. Next. 2 minutes. Here we come. There he is. Yeah. I've been worried there for a few minutes. Me too. Good. Just looking, I didn't see your car. I was like, oh.
Well, I'm going to share with you guys in a minute what happened to me.
What happened? What happened?
Yeah.
Those two out there, Darnell knows to come and support them, so they would be put their stuff away.
I asked Kimberly, I was like, it's not writing on the first side here. What happened?
I know, we're used to you coming in and getting situated.
Well,
Darnell said, where is Herschel?
I have a good excuse.
I'm sure you do.
It's an excuse, but I have a good excuse. First time ever being late.
First time ever gonna blame it on this video.
I don't believe that tonight, Ron.
I hate that. I hate being late. I don't do late.
I really believe that.
Well, that's what I'm not do late.
You get like an hour early.
Well, it's close to time, and yes, sir, it's kind of warm in here this morning.
All right, I got your sheets.
So we need to get our sign-in sheets filled out. Make sure that we get them in the deal over there at North, and thank you for all of that. Everybody needs to have their books with them this morning. We have a goal for the group today, and the goal for the group today is what?
To
Learn about health and recovery. We want to take this day to learn a little bit about health and recovery. Let me share this with you before we go on any farther. We're going to be talking about our health and all of that kind of stuff, but uh, who's responsible for your health care? You are. You are. You're responsible for all of these things. You're responsible for your health care, for spiritual care, for your family care, for all of that stuff. But here's the deal. The doctors can tell us all kinds of stuff. Your counselors can help you on all sorts of levels and all of that kind of stuff. But if we don't do it, we won't do it. And so it's up to us. But let me share this with you and with the folks at North at the same time. I just rolled in this morning. My wife has a best friend. She is her best friend from their cousins. They were best friends in college and in high school and all of that kind of stuff. And just love each other. So this morning, my wife took her truck in to have new mirrors put on it. And it already, look, she's had it like a month. It's already got 2 recalls on it. So they're going in to fix those recalls and all of that kind of stuff. And her best friend, who is her cousin, who they love, she said, well, I'll be happy to pick you up over there. So this morning, she didn't pick her up over there. So I can't leave her sitting there because the guy told me this morning, I said, is this going to be ready today? He said, well, maybe. I said, what? He said, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's going to, okay. I can put the 2 mirrors on in a couple of hours, but, anyway, it's going to take them. So whatever, I can't leave her sitting over there. So I had to run her all the way back home and then run all the way back up here. I'm praying all the way, and sometimes you pray inappropriate prayers. You know what those are? Lord, don't let me get caught. I'm speeding a little bit here. Just let the police look the other way for me. That's not, I just know that when it's all over and I'm standing before the Lord Jesus, He's gonna talk to me about some of that stuff. Are you brand new? So you do have a book. Yeah, okay. Turn to page 21 on that. Who are you? Dwayne?
Thomas Fernandez.
Thomas?
Fernandez.
Good to meet you this morning. I will meet with you, Thomas, a little bit, and we'll get to know each other a little bit more as the day goes by. So, what's today? Monday? Yeah, Monday. Monday's kind of messed up. Then Monday went away. Tuesday now. Yeah. Tuesday feels like Monday. Everybody have a good holiday weekend. They fed you real well on the holiday weekend. They were nice to you and all of that kind of stuff. Well, on Saturday, my dryer at the house went out. So on Saturday, had to tear that thing all the way down, got me some Googleization on it, and this guy was having it, man, I tore that thing all the way down, and then finally took a little piece off the front, and a little piece about that big, that makes sure the wire is continuous, it's a continuity, things like a little fuse. That thing went out. I had to go and went all the way to Beaumont, finally found a part, put it back in there, working like a dream. So we're going to go over really quickly. We're just going to look at Monday's thing. If you have your book on page 21, it has all of that in there. And a lot of the times your book doesn't have a number on page 21, so you go to page 20 and go one more page. That's deep stuff, but that's how you do that. So this week we're starting back up at physical health, okay? So we're talking about our physical health. You do know that when we get into any kind of drug, and that includes alcohol, because I want us to get to the place where we understand, we always say drugs and alcohol. Why do we do that? Because alcohol is in itself, is ethyl alcohol, and it is a drug, okay? So we need to get to the place where we understand that alcohol is a drug. I have dealt with a whole ton of people down through the years who have told me I am not a drug addict. Okay, congratulations. I just use alcohol. Well, alcohol's a drug. Right? This is why we come to that, and we're off the beam here a little bit. That's all right. This is important. That's when we come to that place sometimes where we use a lot of heroin or cocaine or marijuana or whatever the nasty, ugly, stupid drug is that makes us feel like we want to feel. And then we get out and we say, well, I can go have a beer because we're separating the two. There is no separation between the two. So when I say drugs, I mean, I lump alcohol in with that drug. Okay? So any of those drugs, alcohol, marijuana, cocaine, heroin, methamphetamines, any drug that you happen to be on, shrooms, whatever it might be, y'all, anybody here a frog liquor? No frog liquors? But you know, over in California, they have a little frog. He's about that big. And he has a little red thing on the back on his back. If you get him and you squeeze him a little bit, don't kill him. But if you squeeze him a little bit of real clear juice will pop out on his back. It's poison. So when dogs and coyotes and cats and stuff get him in their mouth, it just makes them feel all kind of crazy mess, and they spit him out. They come to recognize those little things. They won't do it. But if you get him and lick him and get that little bit of poison on your tongue, it'll make you high like a kite for about 30 minutes. It's not enough poison to kill you, but it'll make you high. Now here's the thing. Here's the question that I've always had in my mind. Who was that first dipstick who said, I think I'll lick this here frog? You know? Who was that guy? So we don't want to do that. So don't be going over to California. You know, say, look, I got to say this kind of quietly because the boss man is from California. There ain't no good reason to go to California. But if you do happen to wind up by mistake, if you miss your exit or something like that and you wind up in California by mistake, you're trying to get to what? Phoenix, Arizona or someplace like that. You miss your exit and you wind up in California. Don't lick the frogs. Whatever you do, don't lick the frogs. It's not healthy. None of this stuff that we've been doing is healthy. So the use of drugs and alcohol are really, really bad for our health, right? Really messing our health up. So one of the best ways that we can get to a place where we are doing better with our health is to just stop using whatever it is we're addicted to, right? Everything that we have out there, every drug that we're using out there is going to cost us when it comes to our health. So on the first day, yes, please.
Thank you.
Yeah, look. So it ain't like group's important or anything, but we'd like to hear some of it. So on Monday, the one that we were going to look at Monday, if I was here, is when my health is poor. My health is not good. And I have been, and I don't know where you are, but I have been in places where my health was really bad. Right now, I suffer from a couple of things, but I will tell you this, there was a time in my life when my health was gone. It was in bad shape. And so on Monday, we were looking at this interested and unengaged in physical health. That interested is not right. That means uninterested and unengaged in physical health concerns. Poor nutrition. Most of us had poor nutrition when we're out there in our addiction. I know I did. When I was drinking, I wasn't eating. It didn't have anything to do with eating. I ate when I had to. I subsisted a lot of times on pickled eggs and pickled pig's feet, because that's what at the bar that I used to go to. Yeah. So poor nutrition and poor or non-existent physical activity. So, we don't. How many people think they get enough exercise? No, well, I'm glad to see that nobody in here raised their hand, because we don't. And we do have people that exercise. How many people exercised this morning? I did this morning. I go to the gym 3 times a week at least. I missed that this morning because of my wife's little fiasco. So I'm going to have to double up. I'll go tomorrow and then Thursday. But every day I exercise my stomach. Every day. So we need to get, no one is doing enough exercise. I see some of the guys out here exercising on the thing, and that's a great thing. Get out there and work that iron, throw that ball around, do something. But no one, if you're working, if you're exercising, we're still probably not getting enough. So today, our deal on health is this, and this is a good place to be. When we're looking at our health, we need to go and look at ourselves in the mirror and take a real good look and take inventory of where we are in our health. Just think about that for a moment. You know, where am I in my health? How am I working to get my health back? Because my use of drugs and alcohol have stolen my health. It just degenerated my health, and I need to get back to a better place. And so when we do that, look, today's thing is contemplating. What's contemplating mean? Thinking about it. Thinking about it. Look, here's the deal. How many people do you know, how many people do you think you know in your family or in your friend circle that are even thinking about getting some help with their health issues? We've got folks that were in this group who have stopped smoking. We have folks over at the North Complex who have stopped smoking. I'm really excited about that because we're taking a look at how that affects me in my health and then doing something about it. So when I start contemplating this stuff, when I start thinking about it, it's at that point in time when I can make a decision that I need to do something about my health, right? And I'm in November, which is not that far off, in about 2 months. In November the 2nd, I'll be 72 years old. I had we're going in October. We're going on an RV trip, and we started buying we started buying the slots yesterday, and I had those people ask me some questions, you know, like, "Are you over 50?" I'm so far over 50, I don't know where I left 50. You know, I do remember when I hit 50, they had this big old party, and you know, everybody that goes over, look, you know, nifty, look who's over 50, you know, all that kind of crazy stuff. But yeah, and nowadays I'm getting discounts all over the world for everything. You know, I used to get discounts for being a vet. Now I get discounts for being old. There's some good things about, you know, there's not a lot of good things about being old, but there's some good things about being old, and one of those things is everybody will give you a discount because most of them are betting on the fact that you ain't going to live long enough to use it. You know, so today we're contemplating. You've thought about making better choices. You've thought about making better. This is bettery. I don't know who typed this up. You thought about making better physical health choices. Now, does thinking about it mean you're going to do it? No. I thought about it for a long time before I got up and went to the gym. Yeah, I got work on my shoulder. I had some issues, and so I went over to the place, and they were doing that. And they told me, "Look, we got a gym here, and your insurance pay for it." So my insurance pays for my gym down. I have one in Anahuac, Texas, that I go to, and then I have one right over here that I haven't ever been to yet, but I'm going to go to because I signed up for it. But my insurance pays for those, so that's pretty good stuff. You can go to a gym, but there's gyms out there, you know, $10 a month. And you can go to a gym and do all sorts of stuff. So the fact that I'm thinking about it, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to do something about it. Maybe later on in the week, I'm going to look at maybe taking somewhat action. I need to take a little action. Now, thinking about it is a good plan. You need to think about your physical health. If you need to lose weight, what do you need to do? Exercise. Lose weight. Exercise, lose weight. The next time you look at that second, maybe that third Pop-Tart, and it says, "Eat meat," don't listen to it. Yes, sir.
Better diet.
A better diet, yeah. Look at eating some better food. You know, one of the things, and this is something that's true. If you want to lose weight, get off of carbohydrates. That means all the breads. Get off of bread, uh, rice, and over here in Texas, it's almost impossible to get off of rice. Get off of noodles, stuff like that, and get off of what? Anything that's white. What's white? Potatoes. Get off of potatoes. Your weight will just fall off of you. Tortillas, all of that kind of anything that has carbohydrates in it, it'll just fall off of you. So here's the deal. You have thought about making better physical health choices, but you have not yet developed a plan or do not have an idea where to start. Let me tell you something real quickly. That's a neat trick, Miss Kim. That was neat.
It's called clumsy.
Yeah. So in any endeavor in your life, where is the best place to start? He said it himself. How it works. Somewhere. Start. Start somewhere. Right? My wife needs to lose a little weight. She needs to get a little bit more mobile and stuff like that. So what she does, she's not very mobile and all of that, but what she does is walk in our living room. We have a living room that's 33 feet long. And so she walks in the living room back and forth 3 or 4 times. That's not a lot of it. I go and play with the weights and I do all kinds of stuff and all of that stuff. And she's nowhere near. She could not possibly do it, but she can walk back and forth. And if you can, so you have to start somewhere. You need to get a plan, and here's the deal. Sometimes we need to get a plan about getting a plan. Oh, thought about that? I need to plan, right? I may not have a plan right now to get my stuff going, but I'm going to get my stuff going, right? So I'm going to plan. Tomorrow or the next day, I'm going to sit down and write me out a plan that's going to help me to get started in doing something. So one of the things, one of the real big ways to get ourselves a little healthier, what do you think is the number one cause of death, dying, and destruction in the United States of America? What is it? What is it?
Obesity.
Diet and obesity, that is one of them.
Heart attacks.
What is it?
Heart attacks.
Heart attacks, heart disease. Anybody else? All of those things are true. A lot of people have heart attacks and all of that kind of stuff. But one of the ways that we can get ourselves healthier, and the Surgeon General, back when it was Gutros Bali, y'all remember him? Gutros Ghali. He said, if we stop using tobacco, then the health problems in the United States would almost go away overnight. Said, look, probably about 95% of the issues that we have in the United States of America are caused by the use, abuse, and being around people who use tobacco in any form. Yes.
I was just going to say that tobacco causes people to want to gain weight.
Yeah.
To smoke all the time.
Oh, sure.
Tobacco is stress level as well. And heart disease causes a lot of heart disease causes.
Sure. All sorts of stuff is caused. A lot of mental issues are caused by the use of tobacco. A lot of health issues are caused by tobacco, and the technical term for all of that is nasty. It's just nasty. So if you look on the thing here, we kind of co-opted this guy because I came in kind of late, and he's the guy that we used last week. But now, what's he doing? He's smoking a stogie. That's a big old cigar. So is it more healthy to smoke tobacco or marijuana? Which one do you think would be more healthy?
Marijuana.
Barry, do you think marijuana is more health conscious? Okay, there's a couple of things that marijuana, and what is marijuana really? What's it called?
Hemp.
Hemp.
Cannabis.
Cannabis is the scientific name for marijuana, and here's the deal. Most marijuana, you can ever tell what it's made out of. You don't know, because it's all over there, especially if you get wild marijuana. You don't know what that is. And the stuff that they put other stuff in to make the stuff like you want the stuff, that you have no idea what you're doing. But on average, it has 7 times the tar of tobacco. Yes.
Are we talking about indica or?
I just said all different types. I don't know. There's all sorts of types of the stuff, and any part of it that you use, like the hydro and all of those, all of the different types of marijuana, all of that stuff, none of them are good for you. All of them cause cancer because it's just like vaping. Is vaping better than smoking? No, because vaping causes its own kind of stuff. What does vaping cause?
They release metal particles inside of the lung.
Say it again.
Vaping releases metal particles inside of the lung.
Okay. You said vaping releases medical particles inside your lung, which is one of the things that cause popcorn lung. So what is popcorn lung? Little tiny itty bitty blisters in your lungs. And those little tiny itty bitty blisters in your lungs will pop and will cause cancer and all of that other kind of stuff in your lungs. Why did they come up with the vape? Money. Yeah, money. That's a big deal. Actually, you got to...
Yeah, they wanted to stop lots of people complaining about the smell of cigarettes.
Huh?
Lots of people complain about having to hold a cigarette or having a cigarette.
Yeah, okay. Okay. He said that a lot of people were complaining about the smell and about having to hold a cigarette and all of that kind of stuff, so they came up with vape. And maybe all of those things are true, but the real reason they came up with vape back in the 60s was to help people get off cigarettes, okay? They came up with the vape, and you used the vape, and you started out with a certain amount of nicotine. And then you ease down off of the nicotine while you're using the vape. And then when you got to the end where you're using just the vape without any nicotine in it, what was the suggestion? Quit. Once you've gotten off of cigarettes, you get off of the vape. They never intended for the vape to become the crazy crap it is today. We got millions of people using all sorts of stuff, sucking stuff into their lungs that they have no idea what that is. And, they're doing it anyway, and it's causing all sorts of stuff in their bodies, and they're addicted to it, and they don't know that any action that you do, you can become addicted to it. And so this keeps me from being addicted. No, well, now you're addicted to a vape, which is just as poisonous as the other stuff. Right? So here's the deal. How many people die per year from accidents? Okay. Let's do that a different way. I'm going to look it up for you real quick so you know I'm not telling you stories. This may take a year or so.
Accidents in the home.
Anywhere.
Accidents in the world, in the United States.
Statistically speaking, 80%.
Say that again to me.
Statistically speaking, 80%.
80%? 80%? Okay.
What?
So, yeah, other people die.
80% of total deaths. 80% of the population. That's big money. No, I say
It's a lot. But,
50,000
90% for natural causes.
by accident.
5% self.
On ladders.
Well, in 2020, accidental deaths in the United States were at 18,000. No, I'm sorry. 1,800.
What?
1,800 in the year 2020. In the year 25. Anyway, in 2020, there were 1,800 accidental deaths. That's accidents all over the place.
That sounds really
How about murders?
murders nationwide?
Yeah, nationwide.
Like what's the quarter million?
I'd have to say 2,500.
2,500.
Probably a lot. Per year.
Per year, that's a lot.
50,000. I'm sticking. I said 50,000.
Price is right.
50,001. All right, well. Homicide, number of deaths from firearm homicides for 17,927.
That year 2020.
Number of deaths from all sorts this is 23. From all sorts of things was 22,000.
What about COVID deaths?
So from 22. COVID deaths, that's medical stuff.
I think. That's known death.
Well, yeah, if we don't know about them, we can't. Suicide, what do you think? Suicide.
8,000.
More than 17. 2020 was a messed up year.
Murder more
His active suicide was leaking. Back in 16. That's good. The suicide rate in 2020 was around 2.
2023. 49,316 people crucified themselves.
How many was that?
45.
That's a lot of people.
That's more than gun violence.
That is.
Nah, it's just that winter else.
What about the COVID? What about COVID deaths in 2020?
Don't know. Hold on.
Just curious as to how many accidental deaths for 2020.
COVID confirmed. $1,226,351. No. Too many.
A governmental virus,
Anyway, that's what it says.
handmade virus.
So, how many people died from the use of tobacco?
More than all those combined. That's it. Because you have all the related illnesses. All out.
Lots of people are quitting smoking.
Yeah, they are, and that's a good thing. So, this number here is suspect, taking that out. Yeah, we're gonna, I'm gonna have to work on that, but I will find it. 490,000. That's like 500,000 people a year. That's everything. Die from the use of tobacco. 500,000 people a year. So, Rick, I'm gonna get with you real quickly. This is 50,000, 72,000, 73,000 with the outliers. Probably 74,000 people there die of all the other reasons. 74,000 people die. But by the use of tobacco, nearly 500,000 people a year die. So what the Surgeon General said is if we stop using tobacco in all of its forms, then this number would go away. If you add this to that, that's 565,000 people a year die. So if we got rid of the 490,000, that would bring it down to about 55,000. Isn't that amazing? That's amazing because this is the thing that is very, very simple and easy to do. Getting shot and being croakified from being shot, that's not something that's so simple. That's not something that's so easy. If you wind up in the wrong place, you can get killed by gunfire. I heard on the radio this morning where they're doing something different now in Chicago because there are 8-year-old kids that are toting guns and killing 8-year-old kids in Chicago. So, if you go out in the morning and somebody that's nutsoid like that shoots you, there's not a whole lot you can do. If you decide yourself that you're going to commit suicide, that's something that's entirely different. But what we're doing now with the use of tobacco is, of course, suicide. It's just real slow suicide. You go ahead, my friend Nicole. Your no group's not as important. Whatever you finna do off. Yes, sir.
Systematically speaking, what's the statistics between filtered cigarettes and filtered cigarettes?
Well, what, they didn't talk about that a lot, but I did do a study on that, and unfiltered cigarettes are much worse for you. But that does not mean that filtered cigarettes are good for you. So here's the deal. When we're smoking, when you light it, when you get it in the pack and you pull it out of the pack and you put it in your mouth, there are 7 different carcinogens in that cigarette. 7 different carcinogens. What's a carcinogen?
Causes cancer.
Cancer-causing agent. There's 7 different things in there that's going to kill you. 7 different things. And so, when we light it up, what happens? When you light it up, a lot of those things that are in that are benign or things that are not going to cause you any problem suddenly become cancer-causing agents. Now suddenly I have from 7 to 7,000 different compounds that's going to cause you cancer, take your life, give you emphysema, do all sorts of crazy stuff to you, right? So the filter is, you have something there, and that's one of the things that cigarette companies put on there to make you feel a little safer about killing yourself with their product. They know that people look at it and think, oh, well, this one has a filter. How many cigarettes are out there now without filter? Very few. There's very few. You can still get Camels. Camel shorts, they don't have filters. There's a cigarette I don't know if y'all have ever heard of called Picayune. You ever heard of the Picayune? Picayunes are very short. They're like that, those little Camel shorts, but they don't have filters on them. Now, do they kill you any quicker than the ones with the filter? 99% of the cigarettes today have filters on them, and we still see people dying from the use of tobacco products. See a lot of people that quit smoking and say, well, I quit smoking. I'm in good shape now, man. That's really good. But I'm still dipping this. Okay, first off, that's nasty. Okay, when you walk around like that, look like you got a tumor on the side of your face. That's nasty. But does that keep you from getting lung cancer? You're not smoking. So if you're doing something like that, does that keep you smokeless tobacco, they call it? Does that keep you from getting lung cancer? No, why not?
Swallow.
You swallow it, it's into your stomach, and say it again.
It's going into your bloodstream.
It does get into your bloodstream. That's how come it makes you feel good, because the nicotine and all of the other crap is getting into your bloodstream. But also, you're still breathing. You haven't stopped breathing just because you stopped smoking. A lot of people who stop breathing when they stop smoking are dead. You know, they're dead. But when your breathing is going past the tobacco product and taking that into your lungs.
And that also increases your chance of growth.
Oh yeah, we have a lot of people who have oral cancer. There was a guy that was on one of our. We used to have videos that I showed, and there was a guy that had this whole side of his face was gone. They had removed part of his jawbone and all of this up in here, so he only had that. So what did he do?
Sorry, man.
No, he switched sides. He started, and this is a true story. This was all, but I think it was on the other side. This side was all gone, and so they had to do all sorts of surgeries and everything. And so, can you think of an addiction that's any stronger than that, where my whole face is rotted off? So I'm going to put it on the other side of my face to rot off the other half of my face. You know, you're not. Look, you always talk about clinical stuff. You're not. You got to be clinically stupid to do something like that. Yes.
Did he look like Jonah Hex?
Yeah, he did look a little bit like that, but it wasn't open. It was all closed and everything, but his jawbone was gone. So I mean, when your jawbone's gone, it's like really you're not a pretty person. And you know, some of us in here, we really can't afford to get any ugly. That was nasty. I'm sorry. But here's the deal. Look, we are required. I can't tell you that. I can't tell you to quit smoking. We're going to give you a break here in a minute. A whole bunch of people, both that north and here, are going to run to the back so that we can suck sulfur down our throat and do all of that kind of stuff, you know. But let me tell you, I can recommend it. I will tell you right now, the very biggest thing that you can do to help your health situation right now is quit smoking. If you're a smoker, you need to stop it. You need to cut it out, because it is slow suicide. It will kill you. And I know the outliers. I know that there's an old lady in France who's 117 years old, and they ask her, how long, what do you attribute your long life to? And she said, every day I drink one glass of wine and I smoke a cigarette. Okay, all right. So she lived to be 117 years old and still kicking. So you figure she's smoking one cigarette a day. If you smoke 3 packs, you ought to live to 400, right? It don't work like that. She's an outlier. Now, she probably, if she didn't smoke that 1 cigarette a day, she probably wouldn't live any longer. I mean, she's already lived 117 years. The Bible says you can live to 120. You know, so she got 3 more years. But I will tell you that she'd have better lung capacity, because how many cigarettes a day are too many? Any of them. If you're smoking anything at all, then that's too many. Today, let me share this with you. If you're smoking 3 packs a day, as I did once in my life, if you cut that down to 2 packs, is that good? Absolutely. That's a progression. That's progress. That's a good thing. And then maybe you can go down to 1 pack, and then maybe down to none packs. Yes, sir.
What about those that smoke to curb their appetite so they don't gain weight?
They need to learn how to do something a little better now. You know, to smoke. He said, what about people who smoke cigarettes so that they can curb their appetite and they, so that they don't gain weight? Now, nobody get offended. We just don't get offended in group. How many big people you know smoke? It ain't curbing their appetite all that much, right? Come on. I know some big people who smoke 3 or 4 packs a day, and it ain't curbing their appetite. It's the only way that they're going to be able to curb their appetite with a cigarette, and that's an old wives' tale. That'll work. Putting nicotine and all that poison in your body, maybe it make you sick enough, where you don't want to eat. But one other way that it would help curb your appetite is if you ate them instead of smoked them. All right? So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But think about that. How many people do you know that smoke to curb their appetite? I don't know anybody. Why do people smoke? Yes, sir.
9% of the reason I think is stress.
Stress. Okay. He said the reason people smoke is stress. Well, anybody else got anything?
Boredom.
Boredom, stress, and boredom will make you smoke. What else? And that's exactly it. It's a strong, strong addiction. You have 3 types of addiction that you are fooling with when you smoke. First, you're addicted to the nicotine. And how many people know that nicotine is the amount of nicotine in a cigarette is not going to kill you? It's not going to harm your health. It's not the nicotine. What's the nicotine for? The nicotine is an addictive drug. The nicotine is the thing that makes you want to go back and continue to use this drug that is killing you. It's the thing that's calling you back to use it. What's hurting you is all of the other things that they put in there to enhance the flavor, to do all of those things with. We'll talk about that just a little bit. So, this is the first step in quitting those things, whether you smoke cigarettes, cigars, pipe, or use chewing tobacco. All of them are bad for you. Here's the deal. One of the things we need to know when we first decide we want to quit smoking or using tobacco products is, why do I want to quit? If I have a reason that's behind me, it helps me to build a goal and reach a goal. So the first thing, my goal is to quit smoking. And I will tell y'all, back in the day when I was using and all that stuff, I smoked 3 packs a day. And I was in the United States Army when I was smoking 3 packs a day. And in the Army, we didn't make any money. They didn't pay us much at all. And usually the money ran out before the month did, And so we were out of money. And so my wife would call her mom and talk to her mom and just kind of hem-haw around and everything. Never had to say it, but mom would send us a $20 bill. And back in the day, this is in the 70s, okay? A $20 bill would get us through the month. And I got to looking at that stuff and I said, well, if I quit smoking, I could save some money. Right? Back then, cigarettes, when I was using back in the day, they were 33 cents a pack. So I'm smoking 3 packs a day. That's $1 a day that I'm spending on cigarettes. If I quit smoking cigarettes, that gives me $30 a month. Right? That's more money than I had to get from my mother-in-law. So I did that. Things worked out pretty good. But nowadays, 3 packs a day, $45. I saw a lady yesterday buy the cheapest cigarettes she could. She bought 4 packs of them, and it was, what was it? $46. It was $46. Yeah. So that's $11 a pack. So those are the cheapest cigarettes on the market. I've seen people spend $15 for a pack of cigarettes.
Them weren't cheap on the market.
Sir?
Them weren't cheap on the
What?
That's about
It was the cheapest. It was the cheapest at that little store that she was at.
the cheapest cigarette normally right now. We smoke them all the time. Crown cigarettes. They cost about $5.56.
Okay. Good. Well, that's a whole lot better. That almost makes it worth catching cancer to smoke that thing. So, how much?
Showtime about $2 and something.
Showtime?
So you look like a cigar, it's promised. I don't smoke.
How many is in a pack?
20.
20? I have never heard of that.
Yeah, it's in the country. Showtime.
Oh yeah. All right. So here's some of the reasons. Some of the reasons I want to. The first step in quitting any addictive drug, and nicotine is an addictive drug, is to determine why you want to quit. I needed to determine why I wanted to quit alcohol. I needed to determine why I wanted to quit marijuana. I needed to determine, and we all needed, why do I want to quit cocaine? Why do I want to quit methamphetamines? Why do I want to quit marijuana? It's hard for me to say that word. Here's the reasons we want to quit: to breathe better. I watched a thing on Facebook where a guy was just out of breath and he had walked from here to there. You know, just to breathe better, reduce my risk of cancer. If I quit smoking cigarettes, if I quit using tobacco in all of its form, does that guarantee I will never get cancer? No. I know I have a gentleman right now who is he was a E7 in the Marine Corps. He got wounded 7 times in Nam. He is a war hero. And they just told him he had stage 4 cancer. Doesn't smoke, drink, cuss, or chase wild women. But he's stage 4 cancer. What happened? Life. He's 82. He's 82. You know, so life happened. You know, stuff happens. So he's probably been over there and all of that Agent Orange and all of that kind of other stuff. Something got him. So it's not a guarantee, but there's a really good chance it's going to lower your chances of catching cancer. How many people really, one of the goals in your life is to have lung cancer? That's not a goal. So if that's not a goal in your life, what should you do? One of my goals is to not have lung cancer, right? Yeah. So I need to do everything that I can to lower my risk of getting lung cancer. Yeah.
I'm gonna eventually quit so I don't get COPD.
Okay, you're going to eventually quit? Is that what you said?
Yeah, like next, like when I finish this pack,
Yeah.
I get one more pack.
Huh?
And then I'm done, so I don't get COPD.
Yeah, we don't want to get COPD. We don't want to get all of that stuff. He said, when I finish this pack, I'm going to buy one more pack, and then I'm going to, okay. All right. Here's the deal. There's always a good excuse for bad behavior. That's a good excuse for bad behavior. Well, I can smoke this pack of cigarettes. Why? Because after I finish this one, I'm going to quit. And then, and nowadays they're so expensive you can't throw them away. Yeah. And I don't know. It's just like, have y'all ever been to McDonald's and bought the stuff off of their dollar menu? I ain't buying anything. I'm not eating anything from McDonald's that costs $1. What is that? You don't know. You don't know. You have no idea what that is that you eat. You know, these guys roam around. You see some of those cars roaming around, the yellow ones. You see yellow cars riding around. That's the McDonald's employees looking for roadkill. Going to sell them to you for $1. Yeah, you know. So, pick it on you a little bit. The cheapest thing, I'm not smoking that either, because that's where they swept up the junk that was left over after they made the cheap cigarettes. They sweep it up. It's got dog hair and roach, cat poop and roach feces and all of that stuff, and you smoke it. Say, man, that's a good smoke right there. And it's only $1.19. You know. So reduce my risk of heart attack and stroke. Usually causes heart attack and stroke. Improve the circulation of my blood to my legs and to my arms. Let me tell you something. I want my blood circulating where it's supposed to circulate, right? What is blood? When your blood is circulating through your body, what is it doing?
Filtering out the
It's doing what?
Filtering out the toxins.
Filtering out the toxins. That's your liver's job, but your blood's job is to feed the cells in your body. It goes through every tiny little cell that's in your body. Your blood goes to them, and it does 2 things. It gives food to them. It leaves food, and it picks up the waste. And that's what you were talking about. Leaves food, takes up weight. So I want the blood going around. When your blood don't go where it's supposed to go, the place it don't go croaks. The place it don't go dies. And so cigarette smoking, nicotine, all of the junk that's in the cigarette keeps the blood, gets it to the place where it won't want to go into your veins. It causes veins to become more constricted and things like that, and you will begin to have pain. Anybody have pain in their lower legs? Stop smoking. Anybody have pains in their hands? Stop. Okay. So I want to do that. I want to improve. I want to. Here's another thing. This is a big. Reduce my risk of emphysema, chronic bronchitis, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. What is that? COPD. Varicose. That's COPD. I want to look. If I quit smoking, that's going to make me smell better. You know, we used to have a group over in Baytown where you couldn't smoke at all, and they'd go out and they'd come back and there's no smoking there, and there was one or two guys that would sneak something in to smoke, and could you tell it when they came back to group? They stink the whole stinking room up, and you say, dude, why were you smoking? I wasn't smoking. Well, now you're a smoker and a liar. You know, and you stink because it makes, look, smoking won't make you go to hell, but it'll make you smell like you visited. You know, it will. So you stink. So this will help you. If you quit smoking, you'll smell better, and it will improve your sense of smell and taste. You know, when we were right in the middle of COVID and all those politician people were lying to everybody all the time, every day. If you don't take this, you're going to die. And if you get it, you're going to lose your sense of smell and your sense of taste. We've already lost it by smoking. Smoking takes away your sense of taste and your sense of smell. Food doesn't taste to you the way it tastes to people who don't smoke. Food doesn't smell to you the way it smells to people who don't smoke. Yes.
I was just going to say, I never took it.
I didn't. All right, there's smart people. So I said, look, one of the other things that it's going to help you do is save money. This is just obvious. I was at the store again, lady in front of me again, digging in her purse, finding change so that she can get that one pack of cigarettes. And, you know, you need to meet her so that she can figure out where to get the leavings and the droppings and stuff so she can smoke that stuff. Look, and here's the other thing, and this is probably the most important thing other than not getting cancer and all of that kind of crazy stuff. I have seen people with a oxygen tank with the stuff on them and stuck up their nose. They pull that off, set it over here, turn it off, smoke a cigarette. Yeah.
Completely redundant.
Yeah. And I tell people, look, you know, what does that mean? You don't have sense. God gave an egg rectum. Come on. Come on. Yeah, look, if you've already got COPD, you've already got lung cancer, you need to stop. Maybe you'll live a couple of days longer.
I have a friend of mine, she has a hole in her throat.
Yeah.
And she puts that cigarette in that hole. And it's very disgusting to watch her like inhale this. I mean, and then blow it out of her mouth or blow it out of her hole. I'm like, bro, her mouth's gross.
Yeah, I have actually seen that. I think I saw it on a YouTube thing or something like that. He was talking about somebody he knew that had a hole in their throat. They had throat cancer and had all that removed, and they put the cigarette there and suck it in. I saw that on some movie or something, and that is, like you said, disgusting. Come on. So this one of the things. This is the second most important thing. The most important thing. I don't want to get like that. I've had some ministry in the Arboretum, which is a nursing home. And they have one big room, it's about this size, and they have televisions all over the wall. And they bring the folks in on gurneys, and they are comatose. You know, they don't know where they are. They may be however old they are. Some of them are quite old, and they're comatose, and they're laid in there. I don't know if they can hear the televisions or anything else. And look, I talk to the Lord all the time. I want long life, good health, and great wealth. Right? I want my wife and I. She's going to have a birthday this month. I'll have one in November. In our early ages of 70s, I want to see 70 into 70s, 80s, and 90s. But I don't want to be in the arboretum. Right? What does the word arboretum mean? Place of vegetation. That's the dumbest name for an old folk home that I've ever heard. The arboretum, a place that I'm not going anywhere to vegetate. If I have to go somewhere, I'm going to go in there and shake things up. Within to start having some dances and stuff. I'm not going to do all that. So here's the big deal. This is the second most important thing. You're going to set a good example for your children and your grandchildren. I quit smoking early on, and my kids never saw me smoke. And my grandchildren have never seen me smoke. I have one son who smokes. Now, where he came up with that, I don't know. But I have a son, I have a daughter, I have probably, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. None of them smoke. None of them smoke. And I don't know if I can crow about any of that, but they never saw me do it. They never saw me do it. And I have people tell me all the time, I don't want my children to smoke like I do. I don't want them to have same health issues I do. I don't want them to use drugs like I do and have to go. Well, if you do it, they'll do it because you're the role model and you're saying it's okay. So, don't yell at the kid. You're the one doing that. So we're the role model. So it helps us to help them. So it sets a good example. You will have more control over your life. You know what I'm going to do when we take a break? Think about it. What am I personally going to do when the break comes here in a couple of minutes?
Deep breathing exercise.
What it is?
Deep breathing exercise.
Eat, breathe, and exercise. They ain't got time.
Deep breathing.
Deep breathing. No, I ain't gonna.
I think you understand that when the white people still smoke after giving ample warning.
No, I ain't gonna do that either.
Session.
Yeah, look. He said I'm gonna get prepared for the next session. Yeah. Here's what I'm gonna do. Anything I want to. I'm full grown, nearly 72 years old. Do whatever I want to. I may go to the bathroom. I may go in here and look and see what y'all got for lunch. Whatever I want to. You're not going to do that because your life is controlled by your addiction to drugs. Your life is controlled by your addiction to cigarettes. You're going to run out that door as quickly as you can. That's why when we have the second half of this, a lot of people come in and sit down for 3 minutes and say, can I go to the bathroom? It's got to be real bad. I can't hold it. I cannot hold it. Because during break time, they didn't go to the bathroom like they should. They have an addiction that demands that they go out here and suck maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 cigarettes. They have to do it. You don't have any control over your life. The tobacco, the nicotine is controlling you.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm nobody's victim. I'm certainly not a victim to the cigarette company.
Not to the cigarette.
Not to the. I may be a victim, but I'm not a victim to the cigarette company. I may be a victim to the sugar people, but not to those. Yeah, to the moon pie people. So there's some things we're going to look at when we get back. Why do I use tobacco? Tobacco use is linked to other habits. We have these other habits in our life. And if we have this idea that we want to get off of tobacco in all of its forms, we may have to look at breaking some of those habits. Right? So, we're going to take a break, come back at 15 minutes after, and we'll keep yelling at people. Yes. Yeah.
I don't know if that was your intention, but I'm starting to feel spiritually convicted about smoking.
Good. We will. So I'll help you all I can with that.
You know what? I like the end of your presentation there because you like to appeal to the intelligence of the person with that last part. I understand that totally. You're so good. But I'm still this strong.
So what did she say about
Machines.
Oh, appreciate you. Another.
Hey, Miss Cynthia. Huh? Y'all know where the band is?
That's fine.
One other person I want you.
Miss Cynthia.
Man, he just ended the class about smoking cigarettes and he come toothbrush packs. I was like, dude.
Time to get myself.
I don't have to smoke, I choose.
What? What does this fella ask? Oh, I see Jamie out there.
Probably 20 days. I've been clean for 8 months. Since February. Judge, took a hair follicle test. The hair follicle test is back. She's like, still got to go to rehab. Alright. Dude, this is prison.
I had 90 days. Man, 30 days.
How many weeks? How many spoke?
Excellent.
Oh.
They want to fix it. Whenever. That's it.
Sister Fernandez, just let me know when you gotta go. We don't know what you did with the results, so.
Okay.
What do you need to get? It's no big stress out how much money. What do you go?
I'll give you some snacks and stuff.
Yeah, like $34 for that.
And I wanted to light.
Okay, I'll put you in a little bit, and you're gonna leave one more. That check make sure it's not. I can use my card.
How do am I gonna search through online? Or?
Yeah, we're gonna do a little more.
Probably the
I feel like I was wrong from here for too many days.
Sounds good.
That was your room? Oh,
Also, I didn't think I had also, I didn't think I had That's all right.
Shows a typical appointment at Smart Place
Today?
on the transportation email. And then for that, you have.
See, me, it's there told me tomorrow afternoon. Is that for me?
Where'd you go this morning?
This one. I know. I'm telling
They said tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah,
They may just on wrong. But then yeah, but like she said this morning afternoon, they put it on the wrong project. You got to go to the right.
I'm complaining.
That's so cool.
this here. Maybe else. It's under her.
You do. Sir, yes, sir.
You have one of those?
We have to.
One of those.
No.
When did you get your?
Friday afternoon.
You should have it. Who should have it?
She was here yesterday. Mr. Kate wasn't given unless she's here today.
I thought you
Sure there.
And then Kate will give it.
Caitlin is. All righty then. Get started again. I'm sure everybody's over at North and ready to go and all of that kinds of stuff. There's some things that we want to look at real quickly. We'll get this done today. But why do I use tobacco? Well, we talked a little bit about that earlier. You know, why do we use it? If we know, and we know, look, we're all adults at both places. There's no children at either place, and we know the stuff's not good for us. We know it's going to kill us. We know, you know, if we continue to use, that it's going to be, it's not going to work out well for us. Even if it doesn't kill us, it does some things to us that's not pleasant. So we know that. Tobacco use is linked to other habits. Tobacco use is associated with several different behaviors that are very closely related. And here's the deal: tobacco is a learned behavior. So when we talk about learned behaviors, what does that tell us? That's a good way to say it. Yeah. Any learned behavior can be unlearned. Most of the stuff that's bad for us, most of the stuff that's socially unacceptable, and smoking and use of tobacco products on all levels is becoming more and more socially unacceptable every day. You know, used to, you could smoke anywhere. You go in a restaurant, you could smoke in every public area, but now that's not true. You know, you can't, there's very few restaurants, as a matter of fact, I don't know of any, that you can smoke in unless it's something like McDonald's where you're outside. You know, if you're outside, or the other one that's outside. So there's a lot of things, a lot of reasons, a lot of ways we learn this behavior. We learn this first from our family. You know, that's why we need to be cautious about it, because our families, moms, dads, uncles, aunts, all of those people are our role models. And we are the role models that our children are most apt to follow after. So if I'm a smoker, there's like a 90% chance that my children will be smokers. Is that always true? No, there's always an outlier or two. There's going to be some people out there who everybody in their family smokes, but they're the only one who doesn't. Yes.
I just want to say this here. I'm not getting off track. Just like you mentioned about, you can't smoke here and there, just like in the courthouse. You know, and I feel like they make the law and they break the law. Okay? Say you're a bailiff.
I'm a bank.
You're a bailiff.
A bailiff. I'm a bailiff.
That's courthouse. Okay? Now, I'm coming out of here this case. I can't smoke outside. But you can sit up there in the courtroom with your tobacco and spit. And it says no use of tobacco, period, on these premises. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So that is.
I do, and not only do I.
You sitting up there in front of everybody's feet in your bottle.
Not only do I.
Same way in the jails. Jailers, they right there. Right?
Not only do I hear you, I agree with you.
That's all I want to say.
I've had. Look, I'm a pastor. Y'all know that. I've had people in the church.
Yeah,
no, it's not. It's not acceptable, and I've let those folks know that. Go by, don't call them down or anything. I take them off in my office afterward, or when we're working together around the church or something. I say, don't do that. Don't do that. You know, that's nasty. It is, and so don't do that. And it may be okay for a lot of people, but it may offend other people. And if there's a rule, I agree with that. If there's a rule out there, we shouldn't do that. But here's the deal. The big deal is that we are role models. I had a fella in my group one time tell me, he said, I don't want to be, and I don't claim to be, anybody's role model. You don't get to make that choice. You're the role model. It don't make any difference if you want to be it, if you claim to be it, if anybody's paying you to be it. You are your children's role model. You are. You have to buy that.
You have to make sure you're a good role model.
Exactly. You're either a good one or a bad one. The role you model depends on you. You get to make that choice. But you don't get to make the choice whether or not you're a role model. Because you are. You just are. And you can tell that if you go down to some of those homes and you see those little bitty kids and they're cussing like a sailor. And they hate this group of people. They hate that group of people. They do. That's because you taught them that. You know. So we need to eat that because that's who we are. We're the role models, whether we like it or not. This means you learned it from your family, friends, magazine ads. I'm going to guarantee you there's nobody in a magazine ad that's smoking that is a two. It's always tens. I mean, you got this young lady who just, oh my God, she's just beautiful, knockout, and the guy standing next to her is a living Ken doll. Yeah, you know, and this cigarette makes you look cool. You know, and we see that, and the kids see that, and all of that kind of stuff. It's in the magazine. It can't be. It has to be true if they printed it in the magazine. Come on, you learn it from television movies or doing your military service. If you were in the military, then you know there's a lot of stuff we learned there. We learned how to drink, cuss, fight, do all these kinds of stuff. You know, and I've had people, well, they don't let you do that in the military. You ain't never been there, have you? You have never been in the military. I was there. You know what we did for a pastime? Drink. We have the officers club. We have the NCO club. We have the E club. Everybody got a club. And what they got in the club? Booze. Booze. More booze.
And you know what make it worse than I'm in the military? I don't know how it was back then.
What do you mean back then? You ain't that much younger than me.
Yeah, but I ain't for service. I ain't for service, so I can speak on my father now.
Right.
It could be 2 in the morning. You go to the base and go to the commissary by look.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
No, I'm just saying I don't know about that back then.
I don't remember. I don't remember if they had booze in the commissary or not. I don't know. I didn't do a lot of commissary. I bought all my booze going home at the booze house, but I don't remember. So here's the deal. You get it from there. When you were in the military, you may have heard someone say, smoke them if you got them. All the time. Heard that all the time. They stop on the side of the road, take a break, smoke them if you got them. Okay, you're sitting there, you're stuck out, you know. You ain't got one, somebody offer you one. Now, we're partners in this thing. So before you know it, you're smoking. And when next time, and I will tell you this, if it's smoke break time and they set you down, they say smoke them if you got them. If there's something that needs to be done, if you don't light up, you're going to get you, staff sergeant, whoever's running the show. Hey, come here. So you go and you do. The smokers are smoking. And if there's work to be done, you're working. So there's not much of a break. So suddenly you start smoking. Hey,
that's not right.
No, it's not right. Don't make it.
It's break time. You go out and smoke. I don't want to do it.
But it's not break time. It's smoke time.
Yeah.
So it's different. So some people help you learn the tobacco habit. So think about how often you puff, drag on a cigarette in a day. If you smoke 1 pack of cigarettes a day, each cigarette takes 10 puffs. That's 200 puffs a day. Over the course of 40 years, that's 3 million puffs. 3 million times. Tobacco use is also a triggered behavior. Something causes you to want to have a cigarette. Meaning certain activities, times of the day, may make you think about having a cigarette or chawing some tobacco. All right? Waking up in the morning, well, that's usually the first thing I thought about. I had my cigarette sitting over here, and y'all know I had my vodka bottle sitting over there. I wake up in the morning, have a shot first, and then light up. Before I brush my teeth. Because I tell you what, good shot of vodka, all of that slime and gunk and all that stuff, it builds up on your teeth and in your mouth overnight. You just wash all that down. It don't make much difference, after that. Then you get a good cigarette going on, and by the time you get into the bathroom, so just the very first thing in the morning, I had to get that stuff going on. After meals, you notice that every time you eat something, you want to smoke right after that. Just a triggering thing. During breaks, anytime somebody says break time, you're triggered to smoke. Whether you want to or not, you're triggered to. Talking on the phone, driving, I used to do a lot of smoking while driving. Working on the computer, drinking coffee, drinking alcohol after sex. Some of y'all don't smoke a lot because of that. I understand. Yeah. They ain't no, nobody willing to do that. Yes, sir?
Never.
All right. Before bedtime, I don't want to go to bed with clean lungs. I want to get something in there. Waking up in the middle of the night. I got up this morning at 2. I usually sleep to 4. I just couldn't sleep this morning, so I got up at 2. Waking up during the night, having nightmares. Back when I was smoking, I'd smoke 3, 4, 5 packs of cigarettes. Like you said already, stress. Any kind of stress, and we all know we have stress in our lives all the time. Pain, any kind of pain. Here's the deal: pain is God's way of showing us there's an issue there. There's something that needs to be dealt with. But we do not appreciate pain, do we? I don't want to be in pain. I don't want to be in pain. Cigarettes, when we're in pain, we'll smoke more. Yes, sir.
Along with use of smoking and also cause
Can cause you a what?
of
Oh yeah. Yeah. Seeing somebody else smoke, feeling anxious, angry, or impatient, all that can make you want to smoke. Feeling bored. This is why watching TV after completing a task, we a lot of times reward ourselves by having a smoke. This is why you don't see them on television smoking anymore, because that is a trigger for other people to use. And so you don't see that anymore. Somebody got at least smart enough to get it off of television. And I'm certain that it's helping a little bit. Smoking, the rate of smoking is going down. Why do you think that is?
Vapes.
Some people have switched over to vapes, which is stupid. Yes, sir?
I think the younger generation is starting to understand
I think that's a large part of it. We've been teaching how horrible this stuff is, how horrific it is, for years and years and years and years and years. And finally, some of it is starting to sink in to some of the younger people, and they're not picking up the cigarettes. So that's a good thing. I'm missing a little bitty piece of my stuff, but that's okay. Yeah, what happened to that? Well, we ain't gonna worry about it. So here's one of the things that I think that we should do is trying not to smoke during one of our triggering events. I wanted that thing now. I don't know where it is, and that I might have to have a cigarette. That's a triggering event for me. So try not to smoke during one of those triggering events. I have a thing that shows us what's in a cigarette. And yeah, there's a lot of really nasty stuff that's in one. There's some nuclear waste in it. There's some nuclear waste in there that's really good. It's I can't think of the scientific equation for it, but it's actually in your cigarette. There's also arsenic. Where else is arsenic? Where is it? Where is arsenic? It is in some rat poisonings. It's also in roach poisons. It's also in apple seeds. If you eat a lot of apple seeds, you'll die from arsenic poisoning. Y'all eat apple seeds? Everybody, every now and then, you might accidentally swallow an apple seed, and that's not going to kill you. If you ate 3 million of them, it would probably kill you from arsenic poisoning. But they taste really good. If you bite into one, they taste pretty good.
Isn't that where they get arsenic?
I don't know if that's where they. No, I don't think so. But I could be wrong as well.
They spray it as they plant it on the vegetation to keep the bugs and stuff.
Yeah. So what else is in there? Of course, it has nicotine in it.
The arsenic is ARSONIC.
How is it? S-O?
ARSONIC.
That's what I have.
ARSONIC.
That's a S. RNSONIC. That's close enough. So what else is in there? Anybody know anything else?
Ammonia.
There's ammonia in there. Okay. You ever whiffed ammonia?
It's potent stuff.
It is. I was working when I was a kid at a little drive-in. When I was a kid, they didn't have any McDonald's or any of those drive-ins, but there was. It was a car hop place, and I was working in there washing dishes and stuff. And they had this great big old vial of things over there, big old tub that said ammonia, do not open. I worked in there for 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm looking at that, I'm about 15, and it said, do not open. So I went over there and opened it. Nothing. Nothing didn't bother me. Nothing at all. So I leaned down there and I took a big whiff of it. And oh my God, it just about burnt my lungs out. There was a walk-in cooler right there. And I had to go into the walk-in cooler and go back in that cooler in that cold where it's like 30 degrees in there so that I could breathe. That was really, so this is some horrible, terrible stuff in here. It also has some petroleum. Some petroleum products in it. It has the same thing that we put into heavy grease. That's in your cigarette. Once you light the cigarette, a lot of these things, remember, and I can't remember them all of these are cancer causing, but except for the nicotine. Nicotine doesn't bother you at all. Nicotine in high doses will kill you. But the nicotine in there is in a very, very low dose, and it doesn't kill you. What it does is keep you addicted to the cigarette, keep you addicted to the tobacco product. All of the other stuff is in there to enhance the flavor and to keep it fresh for, give it a longer shelf life. I really wish I could find that, and I will, and at some other time during the week we'll go over that. So try not to smoke during one of your triggers. For example, you might pick after eating breakfast as a trigger. So starting tomorrow, try not doing it. After you eat breakfast or after you eat something or on one of these breaks that we take, and try not to smoke during that break. We had everybody here ran out there. I don't know if everybody smoked, but do that. Start tomorrow. Try not smoking for 10 minutes after breakfast. Wait 20 minutes to smoke after breakfast the next day, and just do something. If I can do something, if I'm smoking 20 cigarettes a day, and instead of smoking 20 a day, today I smoke 18. Is that good? Yes. It's progress. Any kind of progress is good. If I'm using, if I'm snorting 10 lines of cocaine a day, and I go down to 3 lines a day, that's progress. It's not where I want to be. I don't want to be using cocaine at all. I also don't want to be using tobacco at all at any level of any type. But if I can lower that down by just a little bit, progress is what? What is progress? Progress. And this is what I want to make, progress. I may not see a miracle happen in my life today. I may not be able to quit using this junk today. But what I do want to be able to do is have a little bit of progress. Something. If I can quit, look, I know how many I smoke a day. today, if I smoke 20 a day, that's a pack, right? I'm going to make sure that one's left over. If I can, that's 19 of them. Okay, yesterday I smoked 20. Today I'm going to smoke 19. Think about that. If I was smoking 60 cigarettes a day. Think about that. That you're almost smoking one right after the other to smoke 60 cigarettes a day. Chain smoking, just about. So if you're smoking a pack, though, think about that. That's 20 cigarettes at 20 times. You're taking that carcinogen into your lungs 20 times. What does the smoking of cigarettes do to your lungs? Yes.
No, black lungs are healthy. Pink lungs are not.
I think you said that backwards.
No.
Pink lungs are healthy. Black lungs are not healthy. They're the ones that have the cancer and all of that stuff.
Yeah. Fill your lungs full of tar.
They do what?
Fills your lungs full of tar.
It does fill your lungs full of tar. It makes it so that what did you say? What you had something. It will turn your lungs. So
this just come from?
Say it again. Say it again.
Is that where the popcorn comes from?
No, the popcorn comes from
counts.
popcorn.
I wrote it down.
Yeah, popcorn comes from a different place altogether. I want to show you something real quickly. These are our lungs. What are lungs? Yeah, they're just airbags. They're big old airbags. And as I pull tobacco of any type in there or anything, let me tell you, God created your lungs to receive oxygen, to receive air, not anything else. Anything that you're sucking into your lungs is a foreign substance and is not good for your lungs. It's not good for you. This portion of your lungs right here will fill up. This is way down the bottom of the sacs. They'll fill up with all kinds of, well, you're sleeping at night, we're breathing deeper and all of that stuff. So we'll have phlegm and all of this other mess get down in the bottom of your lung. That's how we develop smoker's cough.
Yeah.
When you get up in the morning and you have to cough and puke and all of that kind of stuff to get up whatever it was that you ingested during the night, that's because you have killed some stuff in your lungs. So who knows what that is that you killed?
Alveoli.
What's that?
Alveoli.
Say it to me again.
The alveoli.
TLI?
That little thing.
No.
That's in the lungs.
Yeah. Cilia.
I'm sorry.
Cilia. CELIA.
The alveoli in the lungs too.
Yeah. This I'm talking about the little hair.
Oh yeah.
Cilia. So you've got thousands of these little hairs that grow in your lung. They're everywhere. Now, what's their functions? They act kind of like a filter when you breathe them in. Go ahead.
They catch
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. When you breathe in, all of these things, if you look out through the air, if you take a flashlight, shoot up, you're going to see thousands of things there. So when you breathe it in, all of these things are going to come into your lungs, right? So what those cilia do, they fold down like that as it's coming in. They collect it, and then when you exhale, they throw it back out. Right. They expel that stuff. And here's what happens when we use tobacco or vape or marijuana or smoking of any type that puts something into our lungs. We're going to kill these. So all of those with the red mark on them have suffered croakification. They're all dead. So can they do anything to clean your lungs? No, they can't. They're dead. They're dead. A whole bunch of the rest of them A whole bunch of the rest of them have these green marks on them, and what does that mean?
They're good.
They're not dead. They're paralyzed. They're paralyzed. They're just standing straight up. They're in your lungs, standing straight up. They cannot do their job at all. Yes?
So with this lack of urgency,
They probably do. They cannot do anything to get the mess out of your lungs, so they're just paralyzed. What happens when you stop smoking or you stop using smokeless tobacco? What happens? What happens to the cilia?
Are they regenerative?
Say it again.
Are they regenerative?
Well, here's the deal. When we stop smoking, the Bible tells us that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. What does that mean? You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You're something special. Now, whether we want to believe that about ourselves or not, you're something special. So when you stop using tobacco in any of its forms, your lungs begin to regenerate themselves. The ones that are dead, guess what they are? They're dead. They're not coming back. They're dead. But the ones that are paralyzed, after about 24 hours, they'll start to move. And after about 72 hours, they began to move back and forth a little bit more. And after 4 days, 5 days, they're starting to do their job again. They're starting to do that kind of stuff again. And so your lungs are starting to do their job again. In about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, something like that, then your lungs are working a whole lot better. They still have a ways to go, but they're working a whole lot better. Your taste is back to about 80% of what it was before. Your smell is back at about 70% of what it was before. But things are beginning to rejuvenate. Things are beginning to come back alive. At about 6 months, you are at the level where you may be getting cancer. Your chances of getting cancer are about at the same level as someone who has never smoked before. At 1 year, it is at that same level. It's getting close to that level at 6 months, but at a year after you stop smoking, your chances of getting cancer is at the same level of someone who never smoked in their life at all. Right now, my chances of getting lung cancer is the same as someone who's never smoked before. And I smoke 3 packs a day I started when I was about 19, started smoking, and quit when I was 24. So I smoked solidly for 5 years. And so I quit, and all of that stuff, has fixed itself back up. So my level of chance of getting that disease is same as if I'd never smoked at all. So that's the good news about all of that. My sense of smell comes back. My sense of taste comes back. All of that comes back. And so I began to smell better myself personally, and all of that stuff starts to work for me. So after that year, then new cilia began to grow. And so I've got some new stuff in there. So now my lungs are working really, really well. I breathe really, really well. And so, it's a really good thing. My food tastes better. I smell things better, and all of that kind of stuff. So we can do some of those things. We can wait a little longer, try adding another trigger until you have a few of those triggers managed. If I can get to the place where it doesn't make any difference if I am triggered to use, I don't have to answer the trigger. This is one of the things. Say, when what causes you to really need a cigarette? What is it?
Nicotine.
Nicotine, the addiction. Yeah, absolutely. One other little bitty thing before we through on this. What is this? What is this? Now, you can't see it very well at north. What is that? That's your brain. If I cut your brain open and cut your head open, took your brain out, it would look just like that. Believe me. Right here, what is this?
Cerebral function. That's the left and right hemisphere of your brain.
So what is this?
Cerebral function.
This is in here.
Medulla.
Now,
There's that. Oh, we got it.
this is my mesolimbic system. Mesolimbic system. What does the mesolimbic system do? That houses my pleasure center. Houses my pleasure center, and it is the mesolimbic system's job to make sure that I'm alive. When I drown, why do I drown? Get water in your lungs. Can't get any oxygen. That's all true, but why do I do that?
The mesolimbic system.
Your mesolimbic system, which is there to make sure that your autonomic systems work. It's there to make sure you breathe. It's there to make sure your heart beats. It's there to make sure that everything's supposed to work automatically works. You know, your heart's supposed to beat automatically. You're supposed to be breathing. Now, you can halt your breathing. You can also halt your heartbeat. Some people can do that. I wouldn't recommend it. But, you know, some people can do that for a moment and then start it back up. I don't want to do anything like that. But the mesolimbic system will tell you that you're dying if you don't breathe. So if you fall in the water, you can't swim, and you're under the water, it will tell you, after you're holding your breath a little while, it will tell you, breathe. So when you breathe underwater, what do you breathe? Water. And so your mesolimbic system does not know that you're underwater. It's a very primitive system. It is like your third brain, actually. It's very primitive. And it's going to tell you, breathe. Because it knows you need oxygen. So you breathe, you're underwater, you breathe water into your lungs, and you die. So your mesolimbic system kills you trying to save you, right? And when you're underwater, you're going to panic and you're going to breathe water, right? That's why people drown. So here's the deal. When your drug tells you, when you say, well, you know what, I'm not going to use, but your mesolimbic system comes and tells you, if you don't use your drug, guess what? You're going to die. We believe it. That's why we go and we do it. You know, we'll steal grandma's stuff. We'll do whatever we have to do. We'll sell our bodies. We'll do whatever we have to do to get that drug, because the mesolimbic system is telling us, if you don't use, you're going to die. Mesolimbic system tells us the same thing about the use of tobacco. I can tell when it's getting close to break time in here. I can really tell it over at North, when I'm over at North, because people start getting their cigarettes out. Yeah, we're not supposed to do that. That's an illegal move. We're not supposed to do that. They're not supposed to be in group. We're not supposed to see them. But I'll see a pack of cigarettes laying here, another pack of cigarettes laying over, a single cigarette over here. One or two people will have one stuck behind their ear. It's right there. I can see it. I know it's there. I know it. Yeah, see, got one back there. So that's illegal. He's got to get rid of. So here's the deal. Your mesolimbic system tells you, if you don't smoke a cigarette within the next couple of minutes, you're going to die. And look, here's the deal. We believe it. Why do we believe it? Because it feels like it. That addiction is so deep. it feels like we're going to die. And here's the real good point is that the opposite is actually true. If we don't smoke, are we going to die? No, no, we're not. If we do smoke, we will die. It will kill us. The use of the cigarette will kill us. The use of the drug will kill us. But the limbic system has us convinced that if we don't go use that cigarette within the next 5 minutes, we're going to die. I see, look, it's not funny. It's actually tragic because I'm sitting there watching people and they get more and more fidgety and they'll look at the clock. It's not that bad over here because our clock's right here. So everybody can see the clock. But at North, the clock is behind us. And y'all know who I'm talking about over there at North. But there's a couple of ladies at North. One of them sits right at the back, real nice, kind, sweet young lady. And she'll be, as it gets close to break time, try to get a look at that clock quickly enough that I can't see it. I've never told her, and I'm not going to tell her. So you hold your fingers in your ears if you're over there this morning. It'd work out really well for her if she brought a mirror to class. Yes, sir.
I was going to ask you, does it do the same thing for the heroin use and LSD use, like they start having withdrawals?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Same way.
Yes, sir. When I'm starting to get sick because I haven't had my drug and all of that stuff, the mesolimbic system is telling us if you don't use now, you're going to die. You feel those symptoms. You feel those symptoms. Those are going to kill you. You feel that. You know that's happening. So if you know that's happening, you also know how to stop it. How do you stop it? Using. I got to use. And so that's why I see, and this is why our people, they just don't understand it. I've sent that boy, I've sent that girl to treatment 11 times. I've sent them to treatment. They've had the best of care. They've had the best. Man, good God Almighty, we sent them over there to Land Manor. We sent them to the best place there is that anybody could ever go. Gave them the best counselors, the best of everything, and yet they did it again. So they cannot understand that. Why can't they understand it? They don't have a mesolimbic system that's telling them the lie. Their mesolimbic system is telling them the truth. It's okay. It's okay to have a beer. It's okay to have a glass of wine, but you don't want to overdo it. Our mesolimbic system will forever be telling us that we need to use. Not only would it be a good idea for us to use, it's imperative. You have to use. If you don't use, you're going to die. And this is why we keep beating on it and beating on it and beating on it. We have to stay away from the universal triggers. Somebody in the group tell me what the universal triggers are. Nobody knows. Thank you. People, places, and things. That's the universal triggers. Why do we call them universal triggers? They're the same for everybody. So, if you go back to the same old people doing the same old things in the same old places, you ain't got a snowball's chance in Phoenix, Arizona of staying in your recovery. Y'all ever been to Phoenix?
Yep.
Oh my God. You do know now why you're not in Phoenix, right? Because this morning it's 117 degrees in Phoenix. And that's a cool day. Yeah, that's a nice day. And they have big old fields full of what are those things called? It's cabbages. Big old fields full of cabbages. And it's so hot that you can smell the cabbages for like 3 miles before you get there. You're driving down the road. If you go north out of Phoenix, about 10 minutes, there is a national forest there. And there's not one tree. in that national forest? What do you think's in that national forest? What is it? Cactus. Cactus. There's thousands of those cactus that hold their hands up like that. Why do those cactus hold their hands up like that? It's
sunlight doesn't beat off.
say it again.
So the sunlight doesn't beat off.
So the sunlight doesn't beat on them as much. That's what he thinks. But what this really is, it's so hot over there, they've given up. I quit. I surrender. We went in there. Well, we drove over there one time. We was driving through that national forest, headed toward Phoenix, and my air conditioner went out. So there's one little store between Flagstaff and Phoenix, little bitty store there. So we stopped at that store, and we bought ice cream cones for everybody, my wife, myself, and our kids. And that little store sold us those ice cream cones or ice cream sandwiches. They were like $4, and this was 25, 30 years ago. So they should have been a nickel. But here's the thing. I'm not gonna tell you that to quit smoking, and there's only one reason I'm not gonna tell you to quit smoking. I know there may be there's some new people in here. I don't know you guys all that well, but I do know one thing: you're not stupid people. Everybody in here is pretty smart. Everybody here is brilliant. I know most of the people over at North, same thing. We got a lot of smart people in those places. Now, trying to quit whatever your main drug is the main thing. Now, my way of thinking, I'm going to tell you, your main drug is not whatever you're here to get rid of. The main drug is nicotine. That's the one that's going to kill you. Nicotine kills more people than all other drugs put together. But we still allow that. It would be a really good thing to have a facility where that wasn't allowed. You just go and you don't use, and then you can get off of that. Yes, sir.
I was told when I first got here, I think I'm going to stop. We'll try to smoke.
Yeah.
So don't try it.
Yeah.
Try it because I've got too much for it.
Sure.
I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, I've taught that a 1,000 times in my career. Right now I'm dealing with cocaine. When I get the cocaine done, maybe I can deal with the nicotine. Right? I'm thinking as soon the moment you feel like you might be able to get off the nicotine, do it. Give it a shot. Well, I'm trying. Okay, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But I'm here to tell you that you adults, it's legal. None of us. Nobody can tell you that, hey, you have to quit smoking. But if you do one thing that's going to be good for your health while you're in recovery, it is to quit smoking. That is the main thing. And it is reprehensible that we allow people in the United States of America to build a product like that and sell it to people, knowing it's going to get them addicted, knowing it's going to cause COPD, cancer, and all of these other things, knowing that they're going to die from it.
Yeah, I was sure.
Those people should be in prison. At the very least, they should shut them down. They should shut them down. But here's the deal. I had a gentleman ask me several years ago. He said, well, if it's all that bad for you, why don't the government just make us quit? Why don't the government just outlaw it?
We don't live in an Orwellian society.
Population control.
Say it again. Population control, an Orwellian society. They're making too much money.
They do give you a warning by
They do give you a warning. They do.
Or this one, we're free.
We are free. Here's the deal. I do not need the government to tell me not to do something that's going to harm my health. I don't need some guy from the government to come out and say, look, Dr. Garner, you don't need to smoke. What? I know that. I don't do that. I don't need somebody like that to come tell me that. Right? I don't need that. And just like you said, we're free to do some stuff that's not good for us, aren't we? We're free to do some stuff that's not good for us. So, all right, I appreciate y'all. Thank you for coming, showing up. Do you think that we met the goal of this group? We learned a little bit more about tobacco and what it does to us and all of that. I'm gonna find the other thing that I was looking for so I can share it. I want you to know everything that's in it. It's amazing to me. Thank you guys at North. I appreciate you ladies. Make sure that sign-in sheet gets where it's supposed to go. Yes.
I just want to say this here. That's every week you lose the paperwork. You come here for America.
He said every week I lose something. Yes.
I'm going to turn my homework.
Okay. Yes, sir. If y'all have homework, just lay it up here and I will gather it up. We don't have any homework for today. Today's a free day, but